a decent matchup in the lane, but they do take the adaptation and they get rid of the Rakan.
It's a good call, I think. The Xayah Rakan has been so incredibly strong. Levi,
Whoa.
immediate response here. Kindred says, I don't care about the Viego that I think R7 were very worried about. And going immediately towards Lissandra once more. They want to try and play through this mid jungle again.
I mean, if you take Sylas here, I was just about to say, if you take the Sylas, you have so much power already on the board, and it's a perfect comfort champion for the side of R7.
And it's definitely not something that you want to give across to Sylas, is that invulnerability. The fact that he has that Kingslayer to immediately pop as soon as you come out of the Lamb's respite is so good. Plus the follow-up where you have the ultimate himself from the Lissandra, even the fact he's seen him with the Zeri ultimate and a lot of AP scaling makes that pretty terrifying. So at the moment, the junglers will be more than likely focused here for GAM in the next rotation, just because obviously no jungler picked up. But it is a question mark then of what does Oddie feel comfortable in bringing to the table. This guy's had a lot of different junglers over the course of this year, so I'm not going to be surprised to see him try and flex his muscles a little bit here and should be fine. But actually, GAM not even going to go towards the jungle. They're more concerned about the Xayah in the top lane.
I mean, again, Bong did not have a bad game on it, was able to kind of mitigate a lot of the pressure in the laning phase, but unfortunately, game number 2 just wasn't, as you mentioned many a time, be able to kind of stop the multiple of threats that were kind of jumping onto the rest of R7.
I still think, though, you do need to probably prioritize things like the Gragas as well, because it is something that you could put into the top lane. Bong hasn't actually played at this split, but even if you send it in towards the jungle, it's really good against the Kindred.
Yeah.
Throw that cask into the middle and it basically nullifies everything the Kindred wants to do. Looks like, though, they're going to go for the Licorice special, kind of learning from the other games that this top lane Poppy is incredibly strong.
It's very, very strong. Not only that, but it's also just incredibly safe. Got good engage, able to tank up a hell of a lot, and getting that buckler off as well can give you so much extra survivability.
Great against these short range AD carries too. The hops from the Kindred, the dashes from the Zeri, trying to keep those in check is going to be so incredibly important. And we'll have to see now exactly what the game plan is going to be. Kiaya may need to go back towards something that's a little bit more tanky, trying to provide that front line, because this is definitely a team fighting squad that you have coming out from GAM, but may not be the case. Actually going to go towards the Jax, and you need heavy engage here.
Yeah.
Maybe something like a Leona or something along those lines in this next rotation.
Well, there's big smiles on the GAM side. They're thinking about it, but nothing locked just yet. So yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. Right now, you're kind of getting a lot of flanks, but no one really to kind of help with that big old kind of engage. They go with the Braum. It's a bit more disengaged, but like you said, if they're looking to start a fight, they're going to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you got the Lissandra there who can try and start off a lot of these fights, but especially when you have so much opportunity to turn those engages around, it's very telegraphed. It gives a lot of time for R7 to try and right the ship, and especially when GAM have been doing such a good job in these team fights, it feels weird to not kind of fall back into that stall and just play for that. But we'll have to see exactly what the game plan is going to be. Loud isn't playing yet, so we'll wait a little bit for that. But Gragas, we already talked about it, a big pick here. I really like Frotty. He's already played in the jungle. He has he has an opportunity now to be a big player. Actually going to be the swap there, but either way, it still counts. Just getting that disengage, that disruption, especially for the Kindred ult, any sort of follow-up on Lissandra is going to be so good here.
Well, we'll wait to see for the last few seconds before if that is going to be a Poppy in the jungle or not, but good flex here, and then you mentioned it before the Gragas was picked. Just so many good ways of getting everyone who's so short-ranged away from your carries, keeping them safe. And again, Xayah did a fantastic job in that game number 2 to kind of keep himself relevant, even when he was getting jumped on top of.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Bong hasn't played the Gragas this split, but it's still just such a good opportunity to play it. Like, it's great into the Jax matchup, because every time the Jax tries to go in on top of you, you can either slow him when he tries to pop the counter-strike, you can hit him with the belly bop if he tries to go in with the leap, and just being able to have that disengage is going to be so crucial.
Into game number 3, and if the other 2 games are anything to go by, it's going to be a hell of a banger.
There is going to be haymakers galore in this game as we start to move past probably the 10-minute mark. It's been a bit of a slow burn in the early stages, whereas both teams kind of start to ramp up, but as soon as they're going, they do not stop. Defensive spread here once more for both sides, neither wanting to give too much away in these early stages.
You're getting the 2 rival fan bases. Gotta love the passion, gotta love it. And unfortunately, half that group are going to be very sad in about 40 minutes or so. So sorry to burst whoever's bubble that is, but we'll have to wait and see. It is going to be common in the top side. Phase rush actually for the Poppy into that jungle. It's kind of a very standard one for Poppy jungle. It gives you kind of your combination off. You can proc it very quickly, and then if you need to run away very quickly, you can.
It's also just for the chase down potential when you get into the lane, right? You pop the 3 damage procs and you're able to chase people down the lane, and especially when you don't have a huge amount of follow-up after you use that initial charge, there's just nice to be able to follow on through with that rest of the damage. GAM though, going to be starting on this bot side. Levi again. I'm very curious to see how he tries to play this Kindred, because it doesn't feel like you're going to have too much control onto this bottom side of the map. Like, the push should still be here for Lyonz and Xayah. And even in the mid lane, yes, you'll get some push, but I feel like if Oddie and Mireu can set up in the same way they did in game 1 against this Lissandra, Kati could be in trouble.
Be very aware of the level 1 from the Xayah Rakan. We have seen it go very badly for the Lovers duo in the bot lane, but there's a reason for it. It is exceptionally powerful. Level 2 hit by Kati finds himself in a very familiar matchup that he saw earlier in this series, but so he's able to have a little bit of an easier time up against Sylas this time around.
The problem is, though, I feel like with the push that you have in bot lane for, say, on Lyonz, we can see a very similar story to game 1, where Lyonz is able to move up towards this mid lane, work with Oddie, just trying to be a pain. That's why I like what Kati's trying to do at the moment, which is just spot where Oddie is, will ping that he's on the red, just so then he can make sure that he will be safe, and which side of the lane he needs to lean to make sure he's in no trouble. Even an early ward down and just in this bot side brush as well will make it very easy for them to spot if Lyonz is still in the lane, hiding in the brush, or already starting to play.
I am curious if Kati saw him, though, because it was a ping coming out from R7. There wasn't a ping from GAM. So I'm curious to see if they did have the range on. I imagine they're both the same range, but you never know sometimes. As we do kind of see mid laners just kind of getting their almost full palette of abilities to kind of go for something here. And look, game 1 was very much R7 winning the early games, and then kind of mid-game was very much all over the place. GAM throwing it to them, then throwing it back to GAM, and eventually it landed back in R7's hands. They took game 1. Game 2, GAM shored up that early game. They didn't fall behind. They picked up multiple Rift Heralds. They were able to get that first dragon to stop them from scaling away. And now we're going to see what is the adaptation from R7 coming into this game number 3. How are they going to try and stop GAM from basically nullifying their good early?
On through. Not going to be able to do too much. That's kind of the power of the Braum. I was going to say this one, it actually takes a lot more damage on the way out, but you're able to nullify a lot of the engage where you just throw up the shield, hop away to style, but not really in a position to do so just there. Oddie is on the bottom side, and Mireu does have push, so maybe they can look for something with this wave on bot side, especially if that happens.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get a lot more damage there on the style. You got Oddie coming in. They know that he's there, though. They're trying to put down more feathers, but they're just kind of backing themselves up. Style is ignited. He flashes away, but Oddie is around. He's been slowed down. The flash in, and the kill is secured. R7 are on the board, and now Zin doesn't really have a place to go. He's going to try and see if Mireu can get on top of him, but he's just faced a little bit more damage on top of them from the thing. Oddie's very, very low here as Kati might look try and go for this one. We see a flash away at Bong getting dove on the top side. He's not gone down just yet. Levi will be traded. And bites on both sides of the map, but it ends up being a 2-for-1 trade overall in favor of R7.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1 on the top side. You'll still have the TP that'll come through from Bong, so he should be relatively okay to pick up a portion of this wave. We'll still be slightly behind, but I mean, just a bit of a messy dive on the top side for GAM, whereas it was a little bit more clean for R7 on that bot side.
Bong trying to get as much as he possibly can. Good trade back for him, of course. Doesn't mean he ends up getting that kill. The kill did go over to Levi, and he gets a stack from that as well, I believe, unless he picked it up. No, he must have picked it up from the scuttle, so he didn't get a stack from the Gragas, unfortunately, there. So still sitting on the 1. And then we'll wait to see what the next kind of move is. But Dragon spawning in a couple of seconds. Kati on a bit of a rotation here back to mid lane, because they had to try and make sure they pick up the waves.
There's no one that will be able to follow up on this big push in mid-wave coming through from Style and Zin, even Kati now as well coming into the mix. Surprised to see them commit this heavily towards the mid lane, because I mean that wave will be pushed in, but I don't really think they can turn over towards Dragon at enough. So Style and Zin will slowly make their way back down to this bot side, but it's giving the opportunity for Xayah to set up a slow push of his own, but they might be able to play off before Dragon if they want to. But it looks like GAM going to start this one up immediately. This could be dangerous.
They're looking to try and get this dragon as quick as they possibly can. 5.5 minutes on the clock. They will miss the Winter's Bite, and now R7 looking to try and capitalize on a nowhere to be found Lissandra, and then the knock-off is fantastic. They're capitalizing on all of the missed summoners, and you can see R7 smell blood in the water. They know this is the perfect opportunity for them to get everything and anything they want.
GAM were too slow on the rotation. They get the crash in mid, but they hadn't started up the dragon. R7 correct the waves and say, hey, look, we've actually got the opportunity, even catching Kati walking directly into Oddie and Mireu. R7 once more control this early game, but it's a much bigger lead this time.
Yeah, much bigger lead, a much more explosive amount of gold. That's a 3-0-1 poppy now as well for Oddie, so he's going to get so tanky so damn quickly, and he's looking for a little bit more as well as he looks fishing to see if he can catch somebody out on a bit of a bad rotation.
Big wave on this bot side. I'm curious as Mireu has stolen away the ultimate if they're trying to make something happen on the bot side of the map, but looks like they won't rotate in time. Levi at least should get another stack for himself, which will be a big one for him. That'll be the second stack now picked up for the Kindred. Still a ways away off the level 4 where he does get that range increase, which is so crucial for the Kindred, but Oddie now gonna rotate up and realize that his Raptors have been taken.
And probably his red buff as well. His red buff's already down, so maybe they're waiting to try and catch him out. Kiaya moving in here. Oddie maybe looking to try and get away from this. They're going to wait for him to start this camp and maybe jump in and surprise him. Yeah, he's already used a little bit of a CC and a little bit of his damage, but he puts up the steadfast presence. This is what we were talking about when it came to the Poppy. You can stop so much of these engages, and now you're in a little bit of a bad position. Bong looking to try and maybe save a little bit more face and maybe get a kill on the outside.
Yeah, Bong didn't quite get the knockback he was hoping for, trying to send Levi into the waiting hands of Oddie so then they can slam him into the wall and go for the play, but not coming bot side again. Zin should be fine with the Unbreakable, but again, you can see just not quite able to get the ultimate that we wanted from Bong there. Made it a bit difficult.
You see just a little glimpse as well of what that steadfast presence can do to stop the Jax and the Kindred, anything kind of, value as such, but Mireu already a level ahead, gonna invest in on the Lissandra straight away. They're looking to put down the damage, will force out Kati into a self-ult. Will be able to walk away from that a little bit unscathed.
Yeah, swapped over to the Ignite, so R7 didn't want to dive too heavily in case they end up just getting popped by the tower damage and everything else. But Kati keeps on to his flash. Yes, the ultimate being down is going to be very nice for things like the Rift Tower, but with the reset coming through, GAM are just in a better position. Bong has no mana as well, so GAM know that regardless of whatever happened in the mid lane, we're going to be fine to pick up this objective.
GAM not being deterred from that first dragon kind of faux pas. Themselves back in here. Bong doesn't have any mana. I don't know why he's here, but he's here. It's just being a nuisance for the moment. Levi is taking a fair chunk of damage. He now has got access to the Lamb's Respite, but would really not want to use it this early on. We'll get flashed in straight away. He can't even proc it. That's how quick he was killed.
I am so surprised that R7 managed to pick up a kill there. It looked like GAM were going to be able to walk out of that. Even the fact that Bong invested in the flash there to pick up the help that he needed to get that one across the board. Now Oddie invading on towards the top side. R7 controlling much more of this game than they had in the last one.
Absolutely, looking very reminiscent of game number 1 where they had such an early advantage, but I think GAM's just kind of getting lost in the skirmishes as well. And I gotta say, Oddie has been fantastic so far in this early game. He's really just kind of being so aggressive, but it's tempered aggression. He knows he can get the kills.
And again, I love the call from them, like swapping the Gragas into the top side, making sure he's a decent matchup there in the top lane, and even then Oddie, like everyone on the side of GAM has something that can be interrupted, apart from Kati with the steadfast presence. So from that regard, you're in such a great position here. And yes, GAM will be able to scale. They will have some good team fighting with the double AD carries, but not really having a front line, struggling to get good engages because they're heavily reliant on Kati, just means that so much of their fallback plan that we see from GAM in the mid lane isn't quite there.
Come back in and see everything else really going to be happening. 1:30 till the next dragon spawns. There is going to be no real fights as I say that. We are going to have Mireu sealing away a Lamb's Respite, keeping himself alive, and now Levi very, very low. They will all get a bit of a heal from this. They knock up, they get another Lamb's Respite to keep this fight going. Levi will back themselves away, and that's what happens when no one dies.
Yeah, Levi nearly got baited out of that ultimate though. Nearly wanted to try and finish off Mireu. He sent back the chains, but now Bong in behind. Can he get ultimate number 2? Good ward from Kati was spotted.
They know he's there. They know that he's going to be looking for something there. They recognize, hey, you're not in the top wave just throwing out barrels, so we're going to be very, very defensive.
I want to see R7 reset though and look for the actual dragon though. They will look for the bot lane on to stall though in the meantime.
They're looking for a dive. There's the ultimate out already out of style, and they're going to be able to. Oh, it's a little bit of a mismatch, but they should be able to get the damage, no problem whatsoever. And Xayah gets the kill.
And now Zin going to be able to move into the spot side. I was going to say you kind of take your win there and look for the dragon. No Lamb's Respite with such a long cooldown on that ultimate. You can always look to go for the dragon after that play and win the team fight. But now Bong going to be the counterplay for Levi after everyone went boss.
Oh, Lamb's Respite, but they do have a Shelly, so they get some plate money into Kiaya, but Bong might be also on the menu here as well. They're looking to try and go on top of him. There's a good explosive cast, and he belly bops himself away as well. The flash in, Levi will secure that kill. One more tower shot, and it's a deja vu in the top side, 1 for 1.
He's been killed there before. Kiaya will get a lot of damage onto this top lane turret, though. This Jax going to be a very big issue as we get to the later portion of the game. But again, Bong doing a decent job of turning these back around, getting at least one kill, and making sure that Levi is punished every time he goes up there.
And the thing is, it's only about a 1,500 gold lead, and that is basically onto Oddie on this Poppy. But let's have a look at this one here as Bong just kind of keeps himself away from the damage.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they end up trying to commit this heavily. You can see the Bong is able to get the cast just about to keep him away from Kiaya, and then Levi flashing forward here to finish off. I think there was a little bit of mistiming there where Kiaya couldn't really tank up one more, and the tower just barely able to swap over to pick up the kill on towards Levi.
I will say, I think if actually Bong, it's all if, buts, and maybes, of course, but if Bong actually belly bops into the Jax, he might have been able to get 2 kills, because Jax was tanking, so, and he didn't have flash, so there's plenty to be kind of coming out of there. But R7 will come back out of the replay, and they got themselves full control around this dragon. They know that the Kindred had to be on a bit of a full reset as they died, so it's going to be second Drake for the side of R7 as the LLA continue to look forward to the Hex Soul as well, so very, very valuable as we get later into the game.
This is where, though, I really want to see R7 actually putting presence onto the Rift Tower. We haven't seen it throughout this series. It hasn't been a big one for them, but I really want them to actually start to crack open the base. Oh, sorry, not the base, the towers that exist here for GAM. As Bong, repeat gank, ultimate go up in a second, flash now available as well.
Yeah, he's got the flash, and that's not a great trade for the moment. You got no one from R7 to come up and help you here. They are just going to look for the full kind of setup as they look to try and burn him down once more. Explosive cast is good to knock back Xayah, and he's going to be able to trade back a little bit better. Yep, that's going to be a cleaner dive from the side of GAM as they go back in towards that mid lane, almost getting down Mireu. You have to give up all that pressure in the bot side, though, so you don't gain that kill in the mid lane, and you do lose a tower, so not gaining the full value here, but they will get themselves a kill and a bit more gold onto that Jax.
Mireu needs to be very, very careful. Levi now coming across. Oddie doesn't realize that there's such a big numbers advantage for GAM.
It's a 3v3 though for the moment, and that's not a numbers advantage anymore because you have the Keeper's Verdict there as it lands respite to keep everybody alive. A flash forward from Zin to try and do a little bit of disruption, but they're getting themselves all the damage they need. Lyonz is the one who gets exhausted, and that's not what you need. Goes in with the knock-up. They're looking to make this one a little bit more favorable for the side of Rainbow 7, but it's just not quite got the damage. Xayah has to go towards that top lane to cover for this Jax, who was continually putting down the pressure.
The fact that they managed to turn that around, though, Mireu should be able to pick up a plate off this as well as the Levi has to go around, and Xayah got the kill onto Kiaya. I was about to say this game is turning into Jax versus Xayah, and Xayah strikes first.
I mean, Xayah just goes and sucker punches him right in the face right there, but Xayah 2-0 and 3 really starting to come into his own, and 20 CS up as well to boot.
And that's the thing, all of GAM's resources are invested into Kiaya. A lot of the resources for R7 are on towards Xayah, the 2 kills on towards the Xayah, the plates on the bot side as well. And if you're already able to pick up that extra kill onto the Jax, it's definitely going to help you out in securing what are going to be the team fight advantages. Even here, Rift Herald now up and available. Kiaya just going to have to TP in.
Well, let's have a look at this one here. He's so low, and he just knows he's there, so he's able to get it with the Gale Force and the flash.
Yeah, got window shopping a little bit. Both have to flash to make sure they can secure it, but it means no flash now for Xayah on this one.
And this is exactly what you wanted to see, though, from R7. You said you wanted to see them now move their presence up to that Rift Herald. They've done that. They've stopped the trade back here for GAM. You've got Hex Gates, and you can see there, as you just mentioned, it is going to be Xayah versus Jax.
And this is where Bong wants to try and get control over mid. Has managed to shove that one out, so R7 now feel comfortable to start up. And this is better play from R7, actually working around their lane states to set up for the objectives much better. Mireu gonna pull off so he can move up to answer that wave that was pushed out by Kati in the top side. But now with Rift Herald in tow, you can look to siege up on the mid lane with this Xayah.
Xayah's got about 2 levels up on style right now. It's not even like a level and a half. It's a full 2 levels in terms of the advantage. So that's a huge advantage just in base stats.
And if you think back to game 1, how much of that game was about what can Xayah achieve, what can style achieve in these fights. Xayah just having the easier time is going to make things so much better. Again, way less threat onto him in that back line. Kati, yes. Kiaya, yes. But realistically, the rest of this fight is going to be front to back, and that's where this Xayah can do a ton of work.
I will say we are coming into the GAM mid game. Both games we've seen GAM do exceptionally well between the 15 to 25 minute mark. It's going to be a stolen Glacial Fissure just to secure themselves that mid lane tier 1.
A huge amount of that GAM mid game has been those Rift Heralds. So the second Rift Herald going their way, every game so far in the series apart from this one, they've been able to siege up. They've been able to control the pace of the game and make sure that R7 have to come and try and deal with this. And it's kind of given them that advantage when it comes towards things like the dragons and that, where they're getting positional advantages. Now though, with a minute until dragon and with R7 having that push, they're the ones that are resetting first. They should be able to get way more control, and even just look at the difference that we've had as well. Like, so much more vision has already been established all across the map here for R7. They're well set up in advance for this dragon. They really want to make sure that they are going into this next stage.
Get a bit of a calm before the storm. GAM will have plenty to their disposal. They've got a stopwatch there onto Kati. This Jax is very, very big. I will say, though, you're still waiting on a couple of those Rod of Ages stacks, well, a lot of those Rod of Ages stacks to really come in. So for R7, if they don't want to fight around this dragon, they don't have to. I don't think they want to take that advice. I think they're very, very willing to fight around any and all objectives. I think Xayah in particular has been feeling fantastic. I will say he did flash in that top lane for that kill, so he will not have it for the immediate future. So hold my breath and we just wait to see if anyone kind of go for anything, but no, they're just going to back themselves away. TP coming in here from Kati to bring himself in line with the rest of his team.
But look how dark it is. You can see there from the observers. R7 have done a great job of controlling this area. GAM now trying to re-establish themselves, but have to be so careful. That Ice Cloud down actually means that GAM don't have a huge amount of engage tools, but R7 ceding a lot of control here. Bong not in a position to play the front line, and they've separated across the map.
Yeah, they did not feel comfortable just going in as a 3 as GAM bring them in. We go to 5v5. Dragon started. There's no real vision for the moment on GAM to see whether this dragon is going down. They will just burn this one as quick as you like. They've already used the feathers a little bit, so it's going to be a little bit on. The Peeper's verdict is absolutely beautiful. They don't finish off the dragon. They go for the fight instead because they know it's a 3v5 for the moment. They need to finish off this objective. R7 are caught between a rock and a hard place. They don't know what to do. They're just being indecisive. And now GAM can come back in on top of this. GAM can get away with the biggest highway robbery you've ever seen. Xayah gets jumped on, trying to flash away, but the Lamb's Respite should keep him alive for the moment. A little bit of CC with the concussive blows, and R7, you had everything. He gets the dragon. How is he allowed to do that? Oddie keeps it just going a little bit, but GAM have been given a huge lifeline.
It's the team fights again going the way of GAM. R7 all over the place in that fight. They tried to turn, but the Zin ultimate, the fact that you got that Glacial Fissure is so good in slowing the engage, and GAM managed to turn it around. Yes, they lose the dragon, it's not ideal, but they get the gold that they need.
Got 2 kills, soul point to R7. This game is as close as it could possibly be, but I mean, that was so, like, R7 just had to finish the dragon. You had done all the hard work, and then they just panicked.
I mean, it's just, oh, actually, this is going to be GAM trying
Oddie
to go for one more here.
Oddie sees him, though, and they're going to try and jump onto Oddie as well. They're going to see if they can get on top of him. He will go straight away, though. He's very, very tanky. They're going to try 3v2, but now it's not a 3v2, it's a 3v3. TP coming in as well. R7 are ready for round number 2 as they look to try and finish off these kills. Double kill coming in for Mireu, and they'll finish off the Jax as well. R7 making up for that fight by getting their gold right back in their pockets.
R7 said, I didn't hear no bell. Go in for a round 2 and immediately able to take GAM off the map. Baron in 45 seconds as well. 25-second death timers. It's going to give a lot of control now to R7. They can move into mid, push in this wave, get the mid tier 2, and then start to establish vision in this top side for the Baron that's about to spawn.
I feel like R7 needed that right there. They needed to bring it back because this is one of those games, one of those moments where you could just lose confidence. They will get the reset off. They're 3 dragons up. They are in such a strong position. It's going to be about GAM catching them out now. GAM coming back in those mid-game fights like we just saw.
R7 did spread themselves a bit thin, though, trying to push out all the waves. So they didn't actually get any of those tier 2 towers, which would have been so good for them to pick up. Again, just make it easier to get the vision that you need whenever you want it. But GAM now back out on the map. They're the ones that are actually making sure they keep vision in this river area. And Xayah, who's starting to push in, but Bong this is where, again, you're kind of seeing R7, like, they are finding these opportunities to turn around, but it's when they get the chance to actually put the foot on the accelerator, they're not quite able to do that.
And look, you know, a win here is fantastic for either of these teams, but you got to go up against Golden Guardians, who, for lack of a better term, kind of stomped GAM in that first series. So, like, you're kind of looking at this and saying, like, look, do you get a rematch of that one? What do you do differently? Because it just feels like for both these teams, they are fighting tooth and nail, but the journey's not over. This is just step 1 of many.
Especially when you can see how good Golden Guardians were at slowing down the pace of the game, finding opportunities to come back against BLG. both these squads have kind of shown that they do have weaknesses when it comes to their mid-game and have that opportunity to let teams like that slip back in. So we'll have to see, though, what they can try and manage here. R7 now starting to push in top side. You got Mireu Sylas in the bot lane. It's just a case of, like, Xayah now needs to push out mid, and again, waves a little bit separated, which are giving GAM a potential opportunity to sneak in onto this bot side, get vision, and maybe even look for a dive on Mireu.
Thinking about it for the moment, Mireu just kind of cleaning up the wave that was tracked in on them. They know that Levi was clearing off that ward around the blue buff, so they recognize there's probably about 5 people of GAM in this bottom side of the jungle, and you can see R7 respecting that and saying, look, there is no dragon for 2 minutes. We can go right back up towards this this Baron, and we can start it. They know that there's vision on it, so they know that GAM know they've started it.
Yeah, we'll just back away immediately. Means that Kiaya is happy to just tank up this turn in the bot lane and go for as much as he wants.
Is he? Yep. Is he happy tanking it? Because now we're going to see a little bit of a split right now. 4v4 in the mid lane, 1v1 in the bot side. Everyone's kind of backing away. GAM not really getting themselves a huge amount, but see what way they want to try and work this one out and try and put this pressure around this Baron. It's going to be GAM just kind of walking in blind. They need to try and figure this one out, how they enter safely.
I think that's the big question as well. There isn't really an easy answer. You can see R7, again, Xayah needs to try and step up in this mid lane to be able to push out these waves, start to lean that pressure in towards the top side, but you're not really being given an opportunity to do that because you can see Lyonz actually in by Oddie as he's clearing out the Raptors. Bong had gone for an early reset, so they're only now coming back out of the map, but it's again very desynced. So GAM starting to put that pressure forward, getting that vision that they need, and it's all coming down to once more this next dragon fight.
Big dragon in 40 seconds as well. We're going to have a quick look down the aisle and see that there is still a stopwatch for Kati. Has the ghost in the spell book at the moment, so you're relying very much on Zin on that exhaust. It's going to be full palette of summoners once Levi gets his flashback in a couple of seconds, and I imagine the Poppy will be just the same as well. But it's going to be how you're going to go for it. Big to note as well. Stopwatch on the Sylas, stopwatch onto the Xayah. They can delay if they do get caught.
R7 still trying to get the priority in this mid lane. You can see Bong is pushed out bot, which is letting him roam up into this mid lane. So GAM know that there's going to be a big wave that's about to crash in on this bottom side as R7 once more just grouping. Got to see if Bong, can he find this big ultimate?
5v5, let's make it an ARAM. Look to try and go for this one here. They won't go in, but they do get the Poppy Copter going. Should be able to let that one reset and get himself a much more reduced cooldown. So for the moment, everyone just posturing, but much like the same last few dragon fights, it's very, very dark going in around that dragon pit.
But this is the thing, R7 are not committing to GAM as they're coming in, so they're getting more vision, they're getting to the dragon, and R7 aren't willing to pull the trigger, so all that vision is for nothing.
It's for nothing, and we're getting a little bit of poke damage down. Dragon down to 7,000 HP. They're going to try and maybe flip this one back. We know how good Levi can be with these steals. They're going to jump in. Kiaya looking to try and get on top of the Xayah, but a good keeper's verdict keeps the Kindred away, which means there's no respite for you. Style has the flash over the side. He jumps back in. Levi with the steal keeps GAM in this, but can they survive the fight afterwards? That's the question. The Lamb's respite will be just that, a respite before he falls down. And now Mireu looking for Style, see if he can do it, but the concussive blows are too damn strong, and the rest of GAM will get themselves out alive. They gain the dragon, they lose 2.
Levi gets the steal, but R7 get the fight, and they should get the Baron as well. They can clear out this wave in mid and immediately turn over towards that objective. I need to see that one again, because I thought Levi was with them, but the angle he came in at, he was so late to that fight.
Got Poppy ulted. He got keeper verdict all the way out of that fight and had to come back right into it. But Baron should be secured now by the side of R7, so they delay themselves a soul, but they still come out with a huge advantage.
Yeah, I mean, a dragon for the team fight win and a Baron, you'll take that every day of the week, so we just get to see it here. So I was waiting for a lot of Lyonz to kind of like reposition off the side to try and take this fight, especially as GAM tried to take the entrance. But you can see there, as you rightly pointed out, Oisin, Levi completely taken out of the equation, means that they can take the team fight. But I think that's the point here, is that R7 should have turned for the team fight, but a split call. Xayah was fighting against Kati. You got Mireu who's trying to fight off on the opposite side, and they're not actually committing to DPSing down the dragon. So Levi just able to get back and steal that one away.
He lands that abduct there. I think Mireu picks up Style as well. So very, very unfortunate for that one there. Rainbow 7 definitely feeling like they came out the victors, but they would have loved that soul, that smite steal. So pivotal for the GAM to give themselves, again, another few minutes of just being in this series, being in this tournament. Remember, if they lose, they're gone.
And all they have to do now is R7 is to group up, try and put this pressure down, because look at where Levi is. He wants to try and find a flank into Mireu. Kiaya is spotted by Oddie, so they know that GAM are trying to collapse onto this mid lane.
Yeah, they're going to go for it. The stolen Glacial Fissure just to stave off everybody. All 5 members of GAM now kind of going for a bit of an ARAM. They're looking to try and confirm this turret, but you're looking at the side waves right now. They're gaining one.
race.
It's a bit of a race for the moment, but you haven't got the minions really to kind of go for it. Mireu almost getting caught out here with the Baron minions. I mean, this is fine for R7. They're getting the bot lane tier 2. They'll get the top lane tier 2 as well, but I mean, I guess it's gold just for GAM. They needed something.
It's 2 towers for GAM, but you look, they'll be able to reset. You probably would have
It's
lost
3.
these anyway, so Xayah, yeah, he's going to be able to push in, but now Lyonz starting to move down. The resets are coming through. You can't stick around for the inhibitor. This would be too much. You got the speed up coming out of the base.
Guys,
Kati can get in a flash.
you need to leave. You need to leave, Rainbow 7. They're going to look for Hex Gates. They've got themselves Oddie on the top side of this, but they pushed in the mid lane now. So this is just, the GAM just don't know where to go. They've overcommitted and they don't know how to stop it.
Kati got pushed out on the top side of the map, so he actually wasn't able to reset, so they couldn't get onto Arcia on the bot side. Now the bot inhibitor is about to fall. Levi's pushing in the top side.
Too far
Mireu
spread.
is a mid. You're very, very spread. GAM trying to consolidate all in the mid lane, but R7, they called the bluff. And it wasn't pretty, but they do manage to get a lot out of it.
Still a minute left on the Baron. They're able to maybe break open another base. They're going to go in with the stolen ultimate, the knockback as well. They have to use the Lamb's Respite so early. The turret is still very healthy. They haven't killed that one off just yet. They're still trying to kill off the Kindred, and they will. Style gets the Immortal Shield bow proc. Still has the shielding, and Style stays alive. The turret finally goes down. Bong goes in, and will be taken out on the backside of this fight. But Xayah is here with the rest of his team. These health bars are so low. And Rainbow, they may look for the end.
Can they find the pot of gold at the end of this? R7 trying to see if they can find their first win
Style.
in a best of.
Style looking for a Nexus turret number 1 down. Can they go for Nexus number 2? They've got the minions for the moment. They still have Baron buff for a couple of seconds. They need to try and make sure they keep everybody alive, but they've lost to Lissandra. Now it's down onto the Zeri. Style needs to keep the VCS in this fight, but I don't think they can do it. And for the first time, the LLA will win a best of series at international competition.
It was a hard-fought battle. It took everything to claw themselves tooth and nail across the finish line, but they do stand victorious at the end of it. LLA has taken one step forward into going against Golden Guardians and knocked the VCS out of MSI.
Unknown territory now for the LLA. R7, the first ever team from that league to ever win a best of series at international. What a moment for this team, what a moment for the fans. And it just feels like it's just going to be, you've still got a lot to do, but relish this moment, because it is not very often you get to make history as a team.
You can see it on the faces there, how happy they are. The fact that they managed to step up, and honestly, that man, Xayah,